Okay, so welcome, dear students, to this particular video lecture. So this is for the course EST102 Programming in C, and in today's video we will be discussing on module 3, in particular string processing. So let me come to the course contents. In module 3 we have string processing, inbuilt string handling functions like strlen, strcpy, strcat, and strcmp, and two more functions, puts and gets. So I'll be talking about handling strings, how to define, how to initialize a string, how to print a string, what is the difference of string to normal character. Then after understanding that, we will use a header file called string.h, where this built-in string functions are defined, and we will quickly see some examples to understand each of these functions. So let's move to the C programming compiler. So I am using Dave C++ as a programming platform. So we'll understand the different string usage through these examples. So first, let's consider a basic program. I have hash include stdio.h, the header file. Void main, I have started the program. And so we are familiar with the data type character. So I'm using a data type character, and I'm calling the name as the variable name as name. And I have initialized it as, let's say, M. So what will happen is this alphabet M will be stored in the data type of variable with variable name. Now in the second step, I am printing that character printf. The name is %C. So %C is the format specifier for the data type character. %C. So whatever is coming in %C, it will be actually the data stored in name will be displayed over here. So suppose let's keep the remaining things as commented. Finally, I have get ch. I have closed the main function. So with these two lines, what we are expecting is the output is the name is M. So that is what we are expecting. So let me try to execute it. Go to execute and compile and run, which is F9. So from now on, I'll just press F9. So you can see that as expected, the output is the name is M. That is correct. Now suppose I want to print my name Matthew. So suppose what I can do is I'll write it Matthew over here, and now I'll try to run it. So I am pressing F9, which is actually compile and run. And if I do it, what we have expected is my name has been appeared, the name, but what has appeared is just W. The name is W. So what has happened? So what has happened is actually this particular data type can only store one alphabet. So that is the issue. So, but we need to represent words, sentences, and so on. So for that case, we need to use something called as strings. So a group of alphabets is called as strings. So in order to declare something like a word or a sentence, we need to use an array of alphabets. I can say that I can use a array of alphabets. Now let's see one example of initializing a string. So if you see this particular line, here I have a data type which is character, and str1 is a variable name. So I have given the first string as string1. This is the variable name. And if you remember, we have represented arrays by using square brackets. So what will happen if I define it like this: string str1 in square bracket 7? So there will be 7 spaces will be allocated, and I have initialized what are the contents in each of these spaces allocated, memory allocated. So I have returned my name, and if you note here I have ended with \0. So that is one peculiarity of strings. Even if we did not specify this, it will automatically assign as \0. So if you want to check whether a particular string has ended or not, you can check whether the last entry is \0. Now, if you have noted that the number of alphabets in my name is only 6, but I have used how many memory locations? 7 memory locations. Why I have used 7 memory locations? Because I want to include this \0 as well. So the way to define the initialize a string is we need to specify the data type, which is character. Now the name of the variable, yeah, and in square brackets the space, the memory required, and each of the alphabets can be written with a single inverted comma like this. So let me try to run this with a printf command over here. So printf \n for a new line. The string first defined is %s. So the format specifier for string is unlike for character, it is %c. Now for string, it is %s. And what is %s? So whatever is there in str1, it will be coming in the format specifier %s. So let me try to run it now. I'm pressing F9 now. So what we are expecting is the string first defined is mathew is what is expected. So I run the program, and you can see that in new line has come. The string first defined is my name Matthew. So you can check what will happen if I make it let's say 5. So if I make it 5, what do you expect? So it will have only 5 memory spaces, and suppose I am running it, what will happen is I'm expecting it to print till mathe. See, mathe. Okay, so you can experiment further on it. So that is one way to initialize, so define and initialize an array. Another easier, so it is actually very tedious to put single inverted comma and commas in between like this. Another easier way to define or initialize a string is straightforward. You define it in a double inverted comma with the curly braces. So this is another way of initializing the string. Character, data type, str2 is the name. In bracket, you can give the size of the array, and in curly bracket with double inverted comma, you can specify the string or the word, or you can even put space bar as well. Suppose I have initialized like this, and suppose I am using a printf command like this /n. The second string second defined is %s. So here also I have used %s as the format specifier, which is the format specifier of string, and the string name is str2, which is defined or initialized here. And if I execute this program, what we are expecting is it must print the string second defined is Matthew. So let me try to run it. Okay, so you can see that it has also worked. So the string second defined is Matthew. So let me try to put a space bar, Matthew P A. Okay, and let me put small letter as well. And now if I run it, pressing F9, let's see, you can see that the second string defined is Matthew P. Abraham. So it has identified the space bars as well as the small letters also. Okay, so with this, this is a basic introduction of strings, how to define and initialize a string as an array of characters. Now let's move ahead to the next program. Next, we'll see how to scan it, or how to store a particular string in some particular variable. So we have already seen how to initialize it inside the program. Suppose we are asking the data from the user, how to store that in a particular variable. So we already know that we need to use something called as scanf to store the data in a particular variable. So if you look at this this program, So for the moment, consider std.h as one of the header. And while using strings, in particular string functions, it's not actually for this puts and gets, I have put this string function. So for using the string functions, we need to use an header file called hash include string string.h. So that is very important. So here also I have defined a string character with an array size of 20, and I have asked the user printf enter the string. So it will ask the user to enter the string, and whatever string is entered by the user, that need to be scanned in. So similar to the normal scanf operations of the other data types, here also we have in double inverted comma the format specifier %s, but there is a notable difference over here. So this difference you need to understand. In general, we will use an ampersand while using the scanf statement, ampersand str or something like that. But for storing the string values, we do not use ampersand. So this is what I have written as a note here. No ampersand required for scanf of a string. So if I use a ampersand over here, that is actually produce an error. So I have used asked the user to enter the string. Once the user enters the string, it will be stored in str. And suppose I want to print the string, I can use this command printf in double inverted comma, the string entered is %s, the format specifier is %s, followed by whatever is the variable. So if I run it, what we expect is it will ask the user to enter the string first. It will be stored in str, and it will display the string entered is %s. So let me try to run it. So it has asked the user to enter the string. So let me write C program, and I am pressing enter. You can see that it has displayed the string entered is C program. So this is the way how we can ask the user to enter a string and store the string in some particular variable, and printing that particular string if you want. So there is an alternative way for printing the strings, also storing the strings. So that is by using a function called puts and gets. So puts is having a format similar to printf, but here we don't have the format specifiers as in this case. So it will just print the string. That's all. Okay. So instead of this printf, suppose I am using this puts, there is no difference. So I'll run it for you. I'm pressing F9 now. So it will ask enter the string. I'll enter C program, and if I press enter, you can see that the same output has been displayed over. The string entered is C program. So puts is similar to printf. The difference is in puts you can only give string as the input. So it can only print some string into the screen. Now, instead of this scanf, instead of writing this statement similar to this scanf, if you want to store string, you can use a similar statement called gets. Okay, so the format is the syntax is very convenient compared to scanf. You don't need to write this %s because it is only for strings. So instead of this scanf, now I'll use gets. So what will happen is it will ask the user to enter the string, and whatever is entered, that will be stored in str. So gets is similar to scanf. It will store in that particular variable. So these are two special functions applicable only for strings. Puts is to print the string, and gets is to store the string in some particular variable. Now if I run this program, I'm expecting the same output. So I'm running it by pressing F9. I'm entering a string, let's say C program, and I'm pressing enter. You can see that the string entered is C program, which is the same output as in the previous case. So what we have seen is puts and gets function. Okay, similar to printf and scanf in in string operations. So we have seen how to initialize a string, how to store a string, and how to use gets and puts for string variables. Now let's see some of the functions which are defined in this particular header file. So in this particular header file, there are some inbuilt functions. So if you are familiar with functions, we have seen how to define a user-defined functions. So similar to that, we have library defined functions. So this is one of the library, and inside this libraries, many functions are defined. So some of those functions are, it's mentioned in our syllabus, it is strlen. Another function is strcpy. Okay, so strlen stands for string length, as the name suggests. strcpy stands for string copy. strcmp stands for string compare. strcat stands for string concatenate. Okay, so we'll quickly see what are the ways in which we can use this function. So these functions are actually defined in this header file. So while using this function, it is mandatory to define this header file. Now let's see the first function strlen, which is a function to find the string length. So string length function determines the length of a string. So if you have a string of length, what is the length of that string will be obtained by using this particular function. So let's quickly look at this particular example. So I have started the program over here. I have defined a string with the variable name str, and I have defined an integer with the name L. What will this function do? Puts will just print this. So it will ask enter the string, and user can enter a string. Here I've used scanf. You can use gets as well. Okay, scanf. If you are using scanf, this is the syntax, %s str. So whatever is entered will be stored in str. So here is the function. What is the function? String length. What it will give? It will give the length of the string. So here you can see that this is the actual argument. If you remember function, this is the actual argument which is passed to the function, and this is the return. So here return is actually an integer return. It will return what is the length of the string entered. And what we need to print, finally we need to print the length of string entered is %d, L. So what is L? L is equal to string length, whatever is the length of the string. So let me try to run it. So once I run it, it will be very clear for you. I am pressing F9. So it has asked to enter the string. So let me enter my name, Matthew. So how many letters are there? There are 6 letters. So what it must output is the length of the string entered is 6. Okay, so here it has given the length of the string. So you can check with different strings, and you can see what it outputs. So it will actually give how many letters or how many alphabets are there in your string. So let me go to the next function, string copy. So string copy, the syntax is slightly different. It has string copy. In symbol bracket, we have destination, source. So this function will copy a string from the source to destination. From source, whatever is there in source, it will copy to the destination variable. So let us quickly see one example code where we are using a string copy. So from this statement, you can see that it is not having a return data type. But what it will do is it will copy a string from one variable to another variable. It will copy a string from one variable to another variable. That's all. So here I have defined two strings, let's say ORI and DUP. So for original and duplicate, ORI and duplicate DUP. What will this function will do? It will print enter the original string. So user can enter the string. What will this function do? this function will store whatever is entered in, whatever the user has entered in ORI. Okay, now I have used strcpy, which will copy whatever is there in. So strcpy in bracket, I have written destination first and then the source. So whatever is there in the source, it will be copied to the destination DUP. Okay, so finally I am printing both. The original string is printed and the copied string is printed. So this is the function strcpy, which will copy a string from one variable to another variable. So I am running it. First, it must ask the user to enter the original string. Then it must store in ORI. Then it will be copied to DUP. So both ORI and DUP will have the same string. And what we expect is finally the original string is whatever is the user entered, and the copied string is also the same string. So this is just to understand what this function will do. Now let me run it. So if I run it, it has asked for the original string. So let me give a string. Let's say Matthew, my name itself. So you can see that the original and the copied one both are having the same string. So that is the function strcpy. So the thing is, there are a lot of library defined functions which are available in string.h. Similarly, you can even define the user defined functions. So let me quickly go to the remaining two functions. Another function is strcmp, character 1, character 2. This will compare two strings, character 1 and character 2. If you have two strings, you can compare two strings. What does that comparison means? What do you want to compare? So comparison means it will compare the two characters, and what we want to check is whether it is identical or not. So if both are identical, it will return 0. That is important. Okay. So if character 1 and character 2 are the same, even the capitalization as well. Okay. So if both are identical in all aspects, then it will return 0. So that is how it is defined. And it will return non-zero if it is not identical. Now let's quickly see an example program. I have defined two strings, character 1 and character 2. I have defined an integer L. Enter the character 1 will be asked. It will be stored in character 1. Enter the character 2 will be asked. It will be stored in character 2. And now I have used the function strcmp. So it will compare character 1 and character 2, and it will return the value 0 if both the characters are the same, and if it will return a non-zero value if both the characters are not identical. So I've used an if statement. If L equal to 0, it must print that strings are identical. Else I need to print the strings are not identical. Okay, so let us try to run it. So I'm running it. It is asked to enter the character. So let me write triple E TKMC all in capital letters. And as asked again for character 2, I write the same thing, TKMC. So what has outputted is, it is saying that the strings are identical. Now let me quickly run it once again, and I'll write with a lowercase for TKMC in one, and for another I'll write both in capital letters. So you can see that the strings are not identical. So even if the capitalization is also identical, then only it will return 0. So that is string compare. Now let's come to the final string function, which is defined. I mean, there are a lot of string functions, but in our syllabus, this is the final one, strcat. So it is actually concatenating the strings. So if you have two strings, what it will do is it will combine the strings. So let's quickly jump into the example problem. I have defined two strings, character 1 and character 2. As the user to enter character 1, it will be stored in character 1. Ask the user to enter character 2, it will be stored in character 2. and I've used the function strcat character 1 comma character 2. So what will happen is whatever is there in character 2, that will be added to character 1. Whatever is there in character 2, that will be added to character 1. And have given the statement to print up the concatenated string is %s character 1. So what will be character 1 after this particular function definition? It will be character 1 plus character 2. It is not the other way. That is, character 2 will remain as whatever is there initially, but character 1 will change to character 1 along with character 2. So let me try to run it. Once I run it, it will be very clear for you. So it is asked for the first character. So I'll write I love. Okay, so it has I pressed twice the enter. So I'll run it once again. So enter the character I love. So there is some issue over here. Let me try to check what is the issue. Okay, so it has scanned the first character. It has scanned the second character. strcat character 1 comma character 2. I don't see an issue over here. So let me try to run it once again. Okay, so maybe because of that space. Okay, so what I'll write is intro 2. Okay, so that was the issue. So the spacebar was detected as a new string. Maybe that was the issue. So here you can see that these two are clubbed together over here in row 2. Okay, so the first string is concatenated to the second string to get the result. So this is strcat function. Okay, so there are many functions are available in the library. Similarly, you can define function by yourself. So summary is so just understand what the function does is and try to use in whichever application you require. So with this we will conclude, and you can work out a lot more problems on strings with this basic idea, and best wishes.